How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Emerald City Hockey Postgame Live as we get to have a dance party after that wonderful overtime Kraken win there. Jared McCann burying the breakaway on Eden Hill there. That is what this team needed. This team needed that so bad. Oh, man. Especially after the way things kind of went there at the end of regulation, right? I mean, if you let Vegas tie it up like that and you kind of walk out of this one without the win, things were going to be really rough. Things were going to be really rough for this group as this fog machines are going off. But no, the Kraken take care of business. This was a game that I think they knew they needed. They wanted. More importantly, I think they really wanted this one coming back home, kicking off what's essentially a month-long homestand here for them. This was exactly the way to do it. Come in, beat the team in first place in the division, get your 2 points, show resiliency even when you get that bad luck as that one for Vegas, that tying goal at the end of regulation goes off Lars's skate. He's playing hurdle perfectly. He's taking away his stick. You get that bad puck luck, but you know what? You respond in overtime. You get the 2 points. This was a really big win for this group, and I'm really happy for them. And you could tell that they were really happy about this one as well. And I'm sure we'll have some good stories from RJ as well later on when he joins us after talking with the guys and with Dan. Not gonna beat around the bush too much. I'm sure we'll get to everything that was in this game, as well as the other big Kraken news for today. Which, for those of you who don't know, team traded for Daniel Sprong. Daniel Sprong is coming back. I know a lot of people are excited about that. I'm sure we'll get some comments about that to talk about in a little bit, but I want to start off with the super chats here. First one from Kraken fan. Really was hoping for a Tanev empty netter. Also, why did McCann get first star and not Tanev? It's not unusual for when they're deciding who's going to get first star if a game is going to overtime for the player that gets the overtime winner to get first star, just because it's the most impactful goal, right? It's the one that decides the game. It's the clutch goal. It just kind of, means that much more because it's the one that determines whether or not your team wins or loses that night. So I think for that's the reason. I think if it had gone to a shootout, I don't know that the shootout winning scorer would have gotten first star over Brandon Tanev, but for an overtime goal, that's just kind of how it's done. Not to take anything away from the performance of Brandon Tanev tonight, and I know a lot of people were hoping for that empty net hat trick for him. He played a fantastic game. I just mentioned, right, team trades for Daniel Sprong. Fourth line comes out, plays incredible. We were looking at the end of the second period. That fourth line had zero, literally zero, on both money puck and natural stat trick expected goals against. Like 100% expected goal share was in favor of the fourth line for the Seattle Kraken tonight through the first 2 periods. I don't know exactly where things stand now at the end of the game, but they they took that news of Daniel Sprong coming in, and they wanted to go out there and really prove themselves and play a strong game. And Brandon Tanev absolutely did. He made some great plays. Congrats to him finishing on the breakaway. He doesn't do it all that often, but that was a big one tonight to kind of stop the momentum that Vegas had built in the first period, get the Kraken going. Second one, beautiful feed from Ty Cartier over to him, and then obviously he's got the finishing ability on it. So it was a really good night for Turbo for sure. For sure. Schultz with the next super chat here. Appreciate all the super chats, everybody, that I see them all lined up here. Schultz, though, can't give any team 2 full minutes of 5v3. Looked more like early season Kraken, more intent, Tanev increasing trade value. I mean, somebody's going to have to come out of the lineup for Daniel Sprong. I don't know that it'll be Brandon Tanev, though, after tonight. He really played well and brought the energy. And like I said, most importantly, he brought it when the team really needed it. And he had the recovery, because keep in mind on that breakaway that he scores at the end of the first period, he gets dragged down at first, right? And then he's got the ability to get up, keep momentum from sliding, get up, keep that momentum, get going, still outskate the 2 Vegas players that were going to have a chance to come and stop him. It was a really fantastic play, and one that was crucial for the Kraken in that moment, and that's a big deal. Yeah, you can't take the 2 penalties to go down 5-on-3. Let them get that first goal. Let them start building momentum in the first period, because up until that point, the Kraken were doing a good job. I believe they were out shooting them 6-2 when they took the 2 minor penalties there. it's a less than ideal situation, one you don't want that often, especially against a dangerous team like the Vegas Golden Knights. But you know what? They only allowed the one. They were able to get through it, and then, like I said, they were able to start building momentum at the end of the period, and that was big. Light with the next super chat, ladies and gentlemen. I just something there. Stevenson and Maddie didn't get points, but played out of their minds tonight. McCann is a superstar. Yeah, Stevenson and Maddie had a good game. Maddie just continuing to do the stuff that he's done well all season long, right? He's I've been talking about how he's a controlled zone entry machine, the stuff that he does with that, just the speed that he's able to play with right now, especially with the puck, has been really impressive. He's able to make plays at full speed there. The Stevenson line looked good tonight. I thought Berkey looked good. I know nobody's going to want to agree with me there. But I thought Berkey looked pretty good tonight on that line, and he had a lot of energy and was playing with speed. And there was a lot of times he was able to enter the zone, and then just, for one reason or another, he didn't really have any support with him, and he wasn't really able to do too much. And then Jared McCann is this team's superstar. He is their best player, certainly best forward. The ability he has to come up clutch for them when they really need it. His finishing ability is unrivaled on this team. He is just the guy when it comes to this stuff. And also, they did like a kind of a weird intermission game where a fan had to be like an Amazon delivery driver to the player's house, and they all had to read what they were adding to their Amazon shopping list, all the different players. Jared McCann, smoothest line delivery. He really made it look effortless, and I don't know that I would say the same for some of the other guys out there. So Jared McCann getting it done on and off the ice for the Kraken there. El Bell with this next super chat, really appreciate that. Who'd have thought winning could be so fun? They should do that more often. That shot count was a beautiful thing to behold. Yeah, no, the Kraken did a really good job. Like I said, they came out of the gates hot. Great first shift and really set the tone from the Stevenson line. I really liked that. Just able to start getting shots going, end up finishing with 32 here, it looks like. So good number for the Kraken there. But yeah, they were able to kind of weather the storm when Vegas gets their 2 goals in the first period. Like I said, come back with Tanev there. I thought they did a great job in the second period, kind of, trying to build momentum off of what Tanev was able to give them at the end of the first. They were able to keep that going, really kind of stop Vegas from going at all. They did a great job through the neutral zone, kind of stalling Vegas. Vegas wasn't able to ever kind of attack up the ice with that rush attack that they want in transition. They were just never really able to do it. The Kraken did a good job of kind of playing them more aggressive, and I thought that aggressive defending carried over into the third period as well, and they were able to do a good job of keeping Vegas to the outside in a lot of situations, especially after the Bjorkstrand goal where the Kraken go up. Vegas, they needed a goal, and the Kraken did a great job of kind of keeping them to the outside, keeping them to the perimeter, giving Joey clean lanes so that he could see it. Because right now, the way Joey's been playing, we know he was playing this well on the road trip. To see it here at home, get those Joey chants going. I mean, anything that he had a chance at tonight, he was making the save. And he looked fantastic, and the Kraken did a good job of giving him those lanes. Yeah, that tying goal kind of stinks. It was bad puck luck. Like I said, Lars is doing a great job of defending Hurdle. He's taking away his stick there. It's just unfortunate that it glances off of his blade, off of his skate, and goes in. But yeah, the shot count and their ability to kind of control large sections of each period tonight was something that was really missing on the road trip, but they were able to get it done tonight, and it's definitely a good thing. Beef with the next one. Have a night, Turbo. Kraken OT winner and Spronger is coming back. Merry Crackmas to all, and to all a good night. It was indeed a good night here at Climate Pledge Arena. Like I said, yes, there's going to be lots of excitement around Daniel Sprong. Did have media availability with Ron Francis beforehand. As far as a timeline for Spronger coming in, said that they're going to have to work on the visa paperwork and get that going. They'll apply for the expedited status and all of that kind of stuff. But because Monday is a holiday, it happened so late today on Friday, not expecting it to go super quick. So they're anticipating at the earliest when they could see him coming in and joining the team would be Thursday, but it could be as late as next weekend, just depending on how the paperwork goes in there with Daniel Sprong. Just want to give everybody that heads up. Talked about Turbo, how big a deal that was. And you know what? I thought he did a good job helping defend in the empty net situation. there late as they had him out there hoping to get that hat trick goal. He did a great job out there defending with the group. Another great PK night for him. I thought the PK looked better in this. There was sometimes, obviously, the 5-on-3 is like a tough situation. There's not too much you can do there. But there was other times in this one where the PK units were out there, and I felt like they weren't always super passive. There was one in the, I believe, second period where they were pretty passive, but for the most of the time in this one, it felt like the PK was starting to have a little bit more life, and that was really nice to see. Light with another super chat here tonight. Appreciate it. Honestly, after the first, it really felt like Vegas couldn't keep up with Seattle. The Kraken outplayed the bejesus out of them. I do think Vegas was having issues, like I said, getting their game going and getting playing with speed, right? Which is something that they want to do. The Kraken did such a good job of just kind of mucking up the neutral zone, not letting them make clean breakouts, not letting them get those chances. And that's just, that's the way that they need to play. That's the way teams had been playing them and really stymieing them and not letting them do it. It was great to see the Kraken kind of dictate pace again. That's something that we had seen from them back when they were winning games, playing good teams close, all of that kind of good stuff prior to the road trip. We were talking about this, right? Kraken winning 2 to 3 periods a night, dictating the pace of play, all of that kind of stuff, not having to chase the game, all of that. It was great to see them back at that. And what's really cool is that they're doing it at home. I mean, this is really like the first Kraken team that we've ever seen where they are able to kind of do that and play better at home than they are on the road and do it so solidly. So that's another really positive takeaway from all of this. And it makes the rest of this month look really exciting as there's only, I think, 3 more road games all month long. There's the 2 right around Thanksgiving and then 1 at the very, very end of the month. So the Kraken are going to have plenty of opportunities here at home to continue that trend and hopefully really like make that part of their muscle memory for the next time that they have to go out onto the road. Coop with the next one. What a W. Love the fight back after somehow dominating and ending up down 0-2. We got to find a way to clear pucks without icings. Big W, but free point 2 points against the division rival. Yeah, no, it's a huge 2 points for the Kraken. I mean, the Vegas side of things, Vegas is in their spot. They're up there at the top of the division. The Kraken just needed to start accumulating points. They needed to stop the bleeding after the road trip. They needed to give themselves and all of us a positive story and something to kind of start working at. And that mission accomplished in a big way tonight from them in that regard. And it's just awesome to see. I know I keep saying that and all of that, but it is. It's because it's such a big deal. This was just so needed from them, and yeah, they had that pushback, that fight, to go ahead and come in and come back after. Yes, they were outplaying them. Get unlucky with some chances. They were able to just kind of stick with it and keep going. That's what you want to see. Leanne here with the big one. Jared, my boy, did it. What a fun game. He did. He took care of business in overtime. Like I was saying earlier, Jared McCann is the clutch scorer on this team. Whenever they need a big goal like that, in a situation like that, he's the guy to come through. I know Brandon Tanev was able to score on his breakaway earlier in the game, but boy, when 19 is going down the ice, and there's nobody between him and the goaltender, you just get that feeling. Like watching it in overtime, you just knew it was going to go in. The building had that energy and that air about it, and to see him get it done yet again was really exciting. And I know it must have been very, very exciting for you as well, Leanne. Very happy for you. Happy about this one from Gregory. Lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. Turbo with 2 goals. Joey standing on his head a lot, and Pastor Canner with the game-winning goal. I have been waiting for this. It has been a long time since that Montreal game when I was last able to enjoy some lemon lime Gatorade. And after the 2+ hour red glare earlier today and the talking over the loud music here and everything, I could use this. I could use this. I will have more when RJ joins me. Trust me, I'll probably down that thing. But I appreciate it as always, Gregory. And yeah, it's just great to see it. And I'm glad you brought up Joey. I know I talked about him earlier, but Joey really keeps this team in games. I know Groot looked good in his 2 games on the road trip as well, but Joey just there is a confidence that certainly in this building, the fans get watching him play, and you know the players got to have it too. Watching him make some of the saves he makes, where like I said, if he's got any chance of making a save, he's going to. It's hard to blame you for letting in a 5-on-3, and then really the 2 other goals are weird bounces. It's hard to, it's not really on him there. So he is just such an excellent goaltender. The way he can track the puck, even though I know on the second goal he had issues tracking the puck there. Maybe that is a little bit more on him now that I think about it. But still, the way he's able to track the puck in big moments, the way he's able to make himself big physically in big moments, really challenge shooters. I know sometimes it kind of pulls him a little away and things get dangerous. Jamie Alexiak really helped him out on that one in the first period. But still, he knows how to come up clutch. He knows how to make big saves that really provide a lot of energy and momentum to the guys, and that is something that they needed coming off of this road trip, and they needed it tonight. And I feel like he really brought it and was a big part of the win tonight for them. Evan here with one with the super chat. Sprong for future considerations. Easy, I hate FC. Am I missing something on the hating the future considerations? Yeah, we'll see what that means. A lot of times it doesn't really end up meaning anything. So at least for now, we can kind of start thinking about it as the Kraken are able to get Daniel Sprong back into the fold, and they're able to do it for free, basically, right? Just taking on a player who's going to take up another spot on the roster at some point when Vince Dunn comes back. I know Ron Francis gave us kind of like a 3-week timetable. Now he's not going to be back once he's first eligible to come off of LTIR. He's not ready yet. Ron Francis said on the pregame show on the Kraken Hockey Network that looking like potentially three more weeks for Vince Dunn. They'll have to deal with cap stuff, whatever. Somebody's going to have to get sent down. Who knows who it'll be? It's still a ways away. Sprong coming in though, it'll be interesting to see once they get him and he's able to start working out with the team, how Coach Dan ends up deploying him and everything. But yes, for now, Daniel Sprong is back. Didn't have to move anything out to get him, and I know that's got a lot of Kraken fans excited. Stiller City with the super chat. Appreciate it. Again, appreciate all these super chats here, everybody. Give Bilesma the belt. Sat Bjorkstrand last game, and he scores tonight. Yeah, and that was the right call. Dan makes a lot of these right calls. Anybody who followed Coachella Valley the last 2 years knows this. Sits Oliver Bjorkstrand. Bjorkstrand talks about how he's got to, up his game, maybe get a little, I forget what word he used specifically, but I took it to mean, I got to get a little bit more aggressive, maybe even a little grittier. And that's what you see on that goal that he scores tonight, right? It's basically a rebound out off of him that ends up going to the net, but it only happens and he only gets that goal because he is going to the net. He is crashing the net. He is doing what this team needs to be doing. And I know the heat map, the shot chart for the Kraken tonight was just so much better than what it's been for this team because they were going to the net. They were having that net front presence. They wanted to get Naden Hill's face. They wanted to score off rebounds. They wanted to pass it to guys that were in the crease. And again, they just got back to the game that they needed to have and that they had earlier in the season when they were a lot more successful. And this was the first time that we saw Bjorkstrand playing that same style, playing that game, being aggressive in that way. And it rewarded him and it rewarded the team with the big go ahead goal. So really, really excited to see that there and happy for him and happy for what Dan was able to do with it. And I'm with you. I think Dan deserves a lot of credit for the way this team is playing and has played so far this season. So I like it a lot. Hopping over into regular chat here. Paul, in 4 years of live Kraken home games, that's a top 3 win for me. Big night for Kraken Nation. It was an extremely exciting game. Really happy for you, Paul, being in the building and feeling that emotion. And yeah, I feel like coming off of the road trip and the way they bounced back from the rough 0-2 start and then the unfortunate bounce that ties the game for Vegas. Like it was just such a swing back for the Kraken. I totally understand that, and I'm with you. It was definitely up there for Kraken games I've attended to in person as well. Um, Jen and now the boys will be happy for tomorrow. Exactly. That was so key. Walking into that skills showcase tomorrow, really hoping it was going to come off a win. Would have been really devastating if Vegas had taken it in overtime just because of the way the end of the game played out there. Yeah, no, this should be fun tomorrow. I think it was always going to be fun, but I think there's going to be an extra level of levity because of what they were able to do here. Postalite, my dad got a yeeted fish. That's awesome. That's fantastic. It's your that I mean that's a great keepsake. You can't ask for more than that, like at all, right? So that is awesome. Christian, happy about the dance party. I think we're all uh, thrilled to be able to have that. Ty, just here to see Stratic announce his boys back. Lol. Oh, I'm sure that's coming. I know Stratic's been active on the Discord. Definitely excited to have Daniel Sprong back in the fold. Lindsay needed that one. They absolutely needed that one. It was good. I know George Costanza in there. Boy, did we need this. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I already see people talking about favorite goal. Christian can't choose between Tanev's first goal or Canner's. I think they were both big. I think, like I said, Jared McCann's, you just knew he was going to score. Like it just, it, I've never known how to put it into words, but there is a feeling in the air before somebody scores sometimes that is it's just there and you know it's coming and that was definitely one of those moments. But I would lean a little bit towards Tanev's first goal just because of the way he's knocked down. He's able to keep his momentum while kind of on his knees, get up, keeping that momentum still, outwork and outpace those other two Vegas defenders there and come in and then get the sick finish too, because that was a big deal for him, I know. Couple more super chats here. First one from Light. Down in CV, Newman outskated two dudes and got a wraparound goal. You know the vibes are good, and a Furcus 3-point game. That's awesome to hear for the Firebirds. I know they gave us like a little update on how they'd played. Was it the other night? And then I was hoping for one for tonight. So appreciate that, Light. And yeah, I'm excited to see that Newman goal. Like let's get two dudes, get the wraparound goal. That's fun, and I know he's probably wanting to get going a little bit. It's been a little bit of a slow start to the season for Yanni Newman down there. So hopefully this gets him going, and we start seeing even more goals from him. And then Michael, this outcome really makes the text messages with my Vegas relatives way more fun. Oh my gosh, Michael, I am sure. I have some extended family that lives in Vegas, and they are Golden Knights fans. And yeah, I'll have to reach out and say something about this one because it's not often that we get this result, and I believe we were talking about it pregame. This is the first time the Kraken have beat Vegas in this building, because the previous two wins, they had that win season 2 in Vegas, and then they had the Winter Classic last year, which was in Seattle but not in this building. I believe this is the first win over the Vegas Golden Knights in Climate Pledge Arena, so just adding to the sweetness of it all there. But I totally know what you mean, Michael. When you've got the relatives on the other side of a big overtime winning goal like this, it is the time to really flex on them as much as you possibly can. Um, Lindsay, I won the Joker jersey because I could smell that rebound game from a mile away. That is awesome. Love the Joker jersey and the story behind it. Everything from that Winter Classic definitely brought the vibes to this one. Lindsay, great call. You and Dan knew exactly what was going to be in the cards for him. Oh, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. I love that jersey so much. Joshua, it feels nice to finally get the payoff for staying up till 12:45 a.m. to watch the game. Hopefully this opens the floodgates and starts a winning streak. Yes, you were definitely rewarded with this one, Joshua. I hope you're already asleep and you're getting some good rest going into the weekend. Maybe not because it's Friday night. You can stay up a little bit, sleep in. But yeah, no, this one was definitely worth staying up for if you're on the East Coast. I'm happy about that. Byron, that brought back some flashbacks of a certain other Vegas game, but a way better ending. I agree, definitely a better ending. And yes, we we've been in situations like this, and we don't have to deal with it. We did have it go the other way, and that is awesome. Um, oh man, this is so good. Brian with the ECH dance party, love it. Blazekin Gaming, true Seattle sports fashion. They needed to give us a heart attack before winning. That's right. Nothing can ever be easy for us or for this team. They have to just kind of go for it. That's the way it is. They got to really throw us through the emotional grinder. It is just Seattle sports, but we know the drill at this point, right? So I think we're all there. Um, Jeff, I know Tanev is in trade talks, but man, does his speed seem to make plays that the rest of the roster can't. I agree, Jeff, and that is something that if they were to trade him, would be unfortunate. You do bring in Daniel Sprong. Daniel Sprong's got a good set of wheels himself, so maybe get something there. But that is something that Tanev has that not a lot of other guys in this league have. Certainly not on this team. It's always been a question of he's been able to generate these chances for himself, these breakaway opportunities. Finishing has always been the struggle and the hard part, but if he's going to finish the way he did tonight, then I'm just saying. He also had a ton of shots in this one too. Even before he was kind of on hat trick watch, he was shooting the puck a lot more. There was a point in time in which he had 6 shots on goal. That was he had only had, I believe, RJ was going back in time, only one previous 6 shot on goal game prior to this season, and then this season that marked his second 6 shots on goal. So it's contract year, maybe trying to do what he can there a little bit, but it's certainly been nice to see in Milo. We all predicted Brandon Tanev being the one to lift us out of our slump, right? Maybe not, but you know what? He was the guy to do it, and for that, he has all of our thanks. That's what I would say to that. DJ and Tay just saying this is the first game I've watched live in a month. Apparently, the team needed me. It did. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping the Kraken get out of the slump. And it's exactly what Brandon Tanev had to say when he talked to the crowd here after the game with Piper on the bench, just thanking the fans for bringing the energy, showing up for them after that road trip. It was something that they needed, and they needed that tonight. And it was not a full building, but it was a loud building. The Joey chants were fantastic to hear again. It's been a while since we've heard those. The excitement and cheering for the PK as they're able to kill off penalties, all of that kind of stuff. That must have been good for the guys to hear after the road trip that they were on, and kind of how tough it looked. Fusion Sprong isn't even back yet, and the good vibes have begun. That is true. Maybe that's all it needed. He just on paper needs to be a part of the organization, and everything could turn around. We will see kind of how they bring him in and what that situation ends up looking like. It'll be interesting. Maddie, this game was 6. Schwartz looked a little off though. Maybe a little bit. I did not notice him as much as I normally do. There was other guys going to the net in this one. Like I said, Berkey looked really solid on the other side on that line. Was doing a good job of getting the puck up the ice with speed, making good passes. Felt like, maybe sometimes some of the passes off of Schwartz's stick weren't quite there, or really there was one key one in the first period. Berkey made a great pass over to him, and Schwartz just wasn't really able to receive it that well. It looked like from where I was sitting like it was a good pass. He just wasn't quite able to get a handle on it there. But it's the way it goes over the course of an 82 game season. Everybody's got some off nights here and there. Everybody in here talking about Daniel Sprong now. I've hit that part of the chat here. I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that everybody's excited to have him come back and all of that. Christian, bring on the belt. I can't even remember who has the belt. It's been so long. It has been forever, it feels like, since the belt. So it would have been Montreal. Who got it after that Montreal game? I would imagine it would be Brandon Montour, right? Or was it somebody surprising? It had to be Brandon Montour for that performance. Maybe Chandler Stevenson. Yeah. And then tonight, Jared McCann is an option. Turbo probably most likely to get it. Joey, it feels like, could have it just about any time he's in the crease, right? Rebecca, I'm dying that 2 teams have traded us Daniel Sprong for free. Yes, that is the one thing with Daniel Sprong, as we were kind of all talking about it and going through everything here. And I have not been as behind Daniel Sprong as maybe some other people in the media have been, and one of the reasons is I go, look, teams keep passing on the opportunity to keep him. They keep giving him away for free. There's got to be something there. But the bottom line is, the guy does know how to score goals. I've never fought against that idea. That is something that this team needs help with, and hopefully he brings that. And yes, it is just kind of funny that he's been able to be acquired by us twice now for essentially nothing, and it is just interesting. There's just no way around that. Autocat pointed out Berkey's getting his best bud Sprong back. I can't wait to see them together again. That'll be really interesting. Who would you put between them if you're going to have a Berkey Spronger line? Who do you have centering that line? That's going to be an interesting one. You stick them both out there with Chandler Stevenson. I don't know, and his passing ability. I don't know. It could be interesting. Stick him with Shane Wright. Maybe. I don't know. I like that. Uh, that's so much. Maddie, do you think a trade is already in the works? I don't think so. I think Ron will give it some time. Probably wants to see the team with a decent amount of home games again after the road trip. I think the message of acquiring Daniel Sprong has been sent. You've benched a player last game. You've acquired somebody and added them to the organization. You have done what you can to motivate this group. I think right now is the time to take a step back, see how the guys respond to the moves that you have been making. They responded pretty well tonight. Hope that keeps going. And then you wait until you have to do something. I think you still have guys that can be sent down without waivers. I mean, I know Shane Wright would be one of those guys. I don't know that you'd want to do that, but that would be an option, and it would keep you from having to make a trade. I don't think Cartier's in that boat anymore. I think you'd have to waive Cartier, and I don't know that they want to do that. So we'll see in 3 weeks ish when Dunn comes back if they are in a spot to make a trade. But I think right now, if you're Ron Francis and Coach Dan Bylsma, you're taking a step back. You're letting the guys play. You've sent the messages that you can send to them reasonably, and we'll see where they go from there. Few things make me happier than Eichel getting stripped for a Kraken game-winning goal on a breakaway. Just a combination of all my favorite things. It was very, very good. It was very, very good. Fusion Mix, Matty looks so good this game. I actively noticed when he wasn't on the ice in terms of zone entries. Felt like Stevie, Karts, and Riker all locked in after weak first periods. I agree with that. I thought Riker did step up his game as this game went on. Cartier just feels like he is that guy who just kind of goes around. And I mentioned it earlier, but he had that sick feed, and I'm glad to see people noticing the controlled zone entries from Matty, because I think they've been really, really important, and they show just kind of how good he is. Christian, too bad Sprong can't make the skills competition. That would have been fantastic. That would have been really, really cool to see for sure. Daniel, in situations like Sprong's visa, is the player allowed to keep working out with their old team? I mean, I don't know definitively, but I would bet a lot of money that the answer is no, just because once a team has changed organizations, you know, there's pretty strict rules about guys from different groups. I don't want to say fraternizing, but working out together. Like, he wouldn't be allowed in their building. You can't have, if you're, say, the Canucks, somebody who is a member of a different organization in your building like that. Just like the Kraken, when they have, on one of those paper transactions where they send somebody down to CV for a day, but they're going to be back up the next day. They're not allowed to come to practice with the Kraken because they are not on the Kraken roster. And only players who are on your roster are allowed to practice with you, work out with you, go through those motions, have access to your facility. So I'm like 99% sure, without actually having to look it up, that the answer would be no. He would have to kind of do workouts on his own and go through that process. Vancouver, probably a pretty easy place to find personal trainers, access to stuff like that, find a gym, and an ice rink to kind of stay warm and ready for whenever he can join the Kraken, though. Schultz, from Ron's media availability, do you think Dunn returns for this homestand? We're kind of guessing it'll be the last week of November. That's just the sense that matches the 3-week timeline that Ron gave. Um, Probably at the end of the month, you get the California teams there. We're guessing that's probably where we see Vince Dunn again. Would be one of those games, but that's that's just a guess on our side. Don't know for sure. Got RJ coming in here, which means I get to go have and enjoy my lemon lime Gatorade here. That's just been teasing me off to the side. So excited for that. Excited to hear what. Oh,
Got it right as it fell down. There we go. All right.
RJ. Excited to hear what the guys had to say and what Coach Dan had to say after this one, RJ.
Right. So we talked to Tanev, Bjorkstrand, and Karche, and those were pretty short, actually, even though I'm getting here after half an hour. It was really Dan that kind of took a long time to get there. But Tanev and Karche both talked about how they put in so much work on that line. Of course, the so-called fourth line was a big topic of discussion tonight and how well they did. And they put it pretty simply as far as just putting in the work, getting rewarded for that work. Yeah, Ty kind of played down the effect of the healthy scratch and everything being a motivator, and Bjorkstrand was a little bit different because he was, of course, asked about the healthy scratch thing too, and he said, "Yeah, look, I was ready to play. I played well," and he did say, "I would have been ready in Colorado." He did kind of hint at that, so I think there might still be a little something left over from that healthy scratch, but he was feeling motivated by all of that. And then Dan said that he thought it was the Kraken's best game of the season. He thought it was their best game of the year, not because it was perfect, but because of how they responded to the adversity, like the 5-on-3 goal, what he called an easy looking second goal. And just the way that they were able to respond to that. And he said there were a few moments in the late first and in the second when they got off kilter. That was the phrase he used. And they were able to bounce back from that. They have the empty net goal, the goal scored with the empty net for Vegas, and that's a tough break, but that didn't let them affect them or anything, and they go out and win in overtime. So I think he really just liked the team's response more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean the team's response was huge in this one. I mean, just what were your thoughts? Because we've covered a lot of the topics from this
I'm
game
sure.
so far, and I just kind of want to hear your stuff, your thoughts on kind of how things went.
Right. Well, I think the Kraken, I do like their response to when things did seem to go off the rails, right? There were a few chances Vegas had where they could have made it 3-0. And I think if they did, that game would have been over for sure. And it looks very different than this. But they importantly kept that third goal off the board and they just went to work. I mean, the fourth line, there have been a few games this season where that line is just unbeatable, where you could place them out against any line in the NHL and they would go dominate. And I don't know why it is that some games that happens. I mean, of course, if that happened every game, they'd all be star players, and it can't happen all the time. But when the game is happening like that, I think Bilesma can realize it, put him out there against some of the other team's top players, and they'll just go to work. This was one of those nights. I mean, they were just unstoppable on the forecheck. That was huge, and I do think it helps having the other team come in here without their best player. I do think not having Mark Stone probably makes a big difference in this game. But the other thing too, the biggest takeaway for me was Joey, just how well he's been playing over the last 5 games, and really he has stopped every shot where he's had a chance. The only ones that have gotten by him are like tips that are pretty impossible to stop, or passes right across where the net's been empty, right? And if he keeps playing like this, all you need to do is eliminate the egregious mistakes, and he will deliver wins for you. It's as simple as that because he's just stopping everything that he can. And so this was a good goaltending performance that thankfully was not wasted. And that's the biggest positive, I think, going forward, because if you can just internalize that as a team, as I think the Kraken did tonight when they were down 2-0, it was, yeah, Joey's stopping everything he can. All we need to do is tie this thing, and it feels like we can't lose.
Yeah, and how about the fact that they were able to do all of this, RJ, at home?
I know. This is the first win against Vegas in this building. So that's pretty huge for them as well. I think it's good for the group's confidence. And Bilesma said as much, right? To show that they can do it in a game like this against an opponent like this. And I think that might be another reason why he thought this was their best game of the year.
Yeah, it makes sense. Stratic 1-0 in the Neo Sprong era, RJ. And then Stratic also talking, have we done favorite goals yet? I have mentioned my favorite goal. It is the first goal from Brandon Tanev, just because, unfortunately the Kraken are down 0-2 in that situation late in the first period. Brandon Tanev stumbles, goes down, kind of gets taken down, is able to keep his momentum as he gets up, as he's sliding on the ice there, RJ, go in on the breakaway, and then finish. So for me, I have the turbo goal that kicked off the scoring for the Kraken.
That is the one that I would have chosen because it's in a pivotal moment. But I also like Tanev's second goal too. The work from Ty Karchi to go in there 1-on-2 on the forecheck, and it was really a continuation of what that line was doing. Find Tanev out front, and you could tell the amount of juice that gave them too. The next 2 or 3 shifts that line went out there, they were threatening to score every single time, and so you could tell that was where it went from we're having a good game to we can't be stopped tonight.
Yeah, no, that was good stuff.
And one more thing on Daniel Sprong, by the way, because in the Neo Sprong era, so Bilesma was asked, Piper asked him, so what do you know about Daniel Sprong? And he said, he's Dutch. That's what I know.
That's all right. Honest man,
yeah.
honest
He
man.
did go on to give more of an answer there, but it was pretty funny that's just what he started with.
That is good. Let's see. Daniel, did you or RJ video overtime? Did Joey try diving on the pile again? That is always going to be RJ up there on the press bridge with the phone doing that kind of stuff. RJ, you did notice something about Joey as he was coming down the ice to celebrate.
I did. So I did get the video of it. It's up on our social media. It's on Twitter. I don't think I got the chance to put it up on Instagram yet, but it will be up on there. And so I got the goal. I got Joey going over. Honestly, I'm kind of proud of how I did on the video, if I can just brag for a second. But I went right to Joey. I got it though. So he's skating up, and then Joey stops. Does a full stop before diving on the pile, which I thought was really funny, because of course last time he just goes in full speed, wipes out. This time it seemed intentional. And actually, as we were walking into the room, I turned over to Joey and I said, "Oh, you made sure to stop before jumping on the pile this time." He's like, "Oh yeah, you noticed, like 2 feet."
Yep. No, it was a good stop. He did it right. Terrible Lotus, does anyone know if the skills showcase will be broadcast? I don't believe it has been in years past, and I haven't heard anything about it for tomorrow.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's not.
Yeah. And then Daniel was hoping Sprong would be in the house for tomorrow. Unfortunately not. I've talked about the situation there. Okay. Let's see. Kind of your thoughts, RJ, just on the move to bring in Daniel Sprong kind of early. I talked about how both with the healthy scratches for Bjorkstrand and Karche last game from Dan, and then this move from Ron, this kind of feels like the moves that you could realistically make to send the message to the group, and then from here on, it's kind of up to them, and you take a step back and you see how they respond to all of this.
Right. It's the perfect look. The Kraken kind of did this last year with the Tomas Tatar trade. This is right out of the Ron Francis playbook, where you make a low risk trade for a forward that maybe sparks some things and get it some going. I love this trade. First of all, there's no risk to it. I mean, if it goes south, you can send him down to the AHL, do whatever, but there's just no risk because he makes so little money and you gave up nothing. Future considerations essentially just means nothing in trade talk. So I love that about it. And then also, I love bringing in Daniel Sprong. I know I'm higher on him than you are, and historically have been. But I love the element that he brings to, I'm guessing, fourth line, but even where he could play, I think a little bit higher in the lineup too. He works, I think, on a speed team where he can attack in transition, and if you can get the play going the other way, he's a guy who can finish when a lot of Kraken players maybe haven't been able to so far this season. So I love this trade. It's low risk. I think Ron Francis called it a nice low risk bet. And so it's low risk, high reward. I always like something like that. And looking forward, right, it does create a cap situation where once Vince Dunn comes back, which does sound like that's 3 weeks away or so, but when he does come back, you're going to have to move somebody. We've talked about it since the start of the season, but potentially, I don't know if there's if Bjorkstrand had a good game tonight, but if the system fit's not there, or if I don't know that you can move Burakovsky, but like he's someone who I could see maybe even fitting into a spot like that if you want to move one of those two guys. It gives you more flexibility about who you move, and it seemed like it lit a fire under the fourth line guys tonight.
Yep. No, I think message sent and message received, which is
I don't know if the message. Big. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the message was even explicitly designed to be sent to those guys, but whether it was or not, message absolutely received.
It was sent to the team as a whole, and really the team as a whole had a terrible road trip, right? Like nobody would deny that. It wasn't just on one group. It was a team effort, so I feel like it was kind of intended for everyone. Coop, is there any ritual we can do with Yanni to break his hitting the pipes curse? I'm starting to worry for his sanity, lol. It has been brutal, a brutal stretch for Yanni Gord here.
I know. He can't finish on these chances, and he does so much to earn them too. And I do want to mention that Dan Bilesman, when he was talking about that line, the first play that he brought up, it wasn't Tanev's goal, it wasn't Tanev's other goal, it was that Yanni Gord play. He said, and he kind of broke down and talked about it. He said, "Look, this isn't Vegas making a mistake. It's not some pretty play, but it's Yanni going and hunting down that puck and creating that chance for himself." And you could tell how much that play kind of meant to Dan, is just the effort to go in and do that, and he wanted to make sure it was appreciated.
For sure. Do we know who got the belts, by the way, RJ?
I do not. I looked around, couldn't tell.
We were trying just to remember who had it. Zoe let me know it was Monty. That was my guess after that Montreal game. But it has been a minute, for sure. Fusion Mix Berkey was played mean tonight. It was great. I had my love for him, made sure to talk about it earlier. And then I did pose the question because, Sprong and Berkey buddies, getting to play together again here, RJ, and I kind of had the question, what center would you put them with? And Maddie saying Stevenson here in chat. I think the best fit would be Yanni Gord, but I don't know how you pull Yanni Gord away from Cartier and Tanev right now.
You can't right now, and so I would go Stevenson. Actually, he'd be the guy. Although, I don't know, given how much ice time Stevenson's getting, he's really kind of playing like the 1C ice time. I don't know that you want to give Burakovsky and especially Sprong those kind of minutes. As much as I like Sprong, it makes it kind of a tough fit. Here's the thing, I might double shift somebody else on that line, or Schwartz or somebody in Sprong's place for the time being, but I would like to see Stevenson. Obviously, Maddie, you're going to keep that line together. What do you think about Shane?
Well, I would not put him with Shane because I feel like Shane has been very consistent. I'd want him to have consistent line mates, guys that are going to show up and really play the same way each and every night. I don't know that has historically been the case for those two guys, so I don't know that I would do that there. I know Viren likes the idea of Stevenson, at least as an experiment. I think the passing from Stevenson is obviously a reason to maybe go in that direction. I kind of like this, though, this idea from Fusion Mix. Berkey, Beniers, Sprong, so that you have infinite zone entry cheat code. They would do that, and then that frees up McCann and Eberle to go back and play with Shane.
Ooh, you know what? I don't hate it.
I
really don't. And you do have a finisher. The thing is, you want a finisher on that line, and Daniel Sprong is the finisher.
Exactly.
Tell him just fire away. Like Berkey will find him, Maddie will find him.
Yep. No, I think there really is kind of potentially something to trying a look like that. And then, like I said, McCann and Eberle have kind of been doing their things regardless of if they had Maddie or Shane between them. You want to get Shane going, having those guys back there with him. I mean, at some point, the points will come if he's playing with the two of them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Let's see. Lindsay, he's not the flashiest, but I'm really starting to appreciate Steady Eddie Mahura. I've always been a fan of what Mahura has been able to bring in and add to the third line tonight. And Maddie also saying Mahura had a great game tonight, too.
Yeah, I agree. And he's just been solid, really, since coming into the lineup this season. And he's not flashy. He's not someone you're going to notice a lot. But when you're a third pairing defenseman, I think that's kind of what you want.
Mm-hmm. And Viren pointing out he was also scratched last game.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting about that.
I know.
I think that the whole D pairs from last game, I think just flush that. Don't ever do it again. No. Get them back to where they were, because that was not a problem.
Yes, no, definitely can't do that again. Kylie Dunn delayed again. I thought he was likely coming back Tuesday. Ugh. I had mentioned what Ron Francis had brought up. We were starting to get that vibe yesterday when he wasn't around. He wasn't skating or anything, and then getting the confirmation today obviously is disappointing.
Yeah, and Dan's comments yesterday did make it seem like he might be a little closer than what Ron said. But yeah, weeks. seems like we're talking 3 weeks here.
Yeah. Christian, the dance party lights really going off on RJ. Yeah, they did just stop, but you were having quite the rave over there.
I know. I'm not used. Sorry, that sounds bad. I'm not used to it anymore.
I know, it's been
threw me off a bit.
Look what I got to have. When was the last
I
time
know.
I got one of these?
How long was that in your backpack?
Let's not talk about it.
Okay. Did it
If
cross international borders twice, 3 times?
you can't fly with this much liquid, so no.
Oh yeah, you're
It's
right.
just,
No, yeah.
yes, but it is part of the large stash that I bought that has all been sitting at my apartment, um, waiting for a moment like tonight. So
Did you
happy
buy
about that.
82 of those?
I bought 3 8 packs.
Okay.
Hey, the team was looking good there last homestand.
Yeah,
I was optimistic.
yeah. I guess you 98, 82 plus 16 is how many you need to have.
Yeah, just in case. Um,
We're not
let's see.
overreacting to one win, right?
Yeah, and Christian pointing out if Bosma's the coach, are these now disco dance parties?
I hadn't thought about that.
That sounds like a T-shirt idea to me. I don't know. Just saying. We have to figure that out. I know we haven't done the T-shirts in a while. It's a tough one for us, but that would be a fun one. Um, let's see. Some dance party nights are just like that from Jenna, for sure. For sure. The party just keeps going on. Maddie pointing out, I remember Sprong having visa issues when he was in Detroit too. I wonder if it's a Dutch thing or if I just don't pay enough attention to trades.
I mean, I know it's not just a Dutch thing because we have other players from Europe that have those. But it is funny because when Sprong first arrived in Seattle, there were visa issues that delayed him and everything too. So it's not the first time it's even happened here.
Right. Yeah, it does seem to kind of follow him around for some reason. Or again, he's just moved a lot, so you hear about it with him more frequently than with other players, which
Yeah.
I think would be reasonable as well. Um, David, there's someone in the visa office that will be like, Seattle Kraken? Yeah, nice try, buddy, as if that's a real team.
Employer, Seattle Kraken. Okay.
I'm sure season one that must have been an
Yeah.
interesting one for everybody. Kylie pointing out we're 2-0 against divisional opponents this season.
Huh.
That,
Only 2 games against Pacific Division teams?
yeah, but like I'm sitting here and I am thinking about it. So like uh we haven't played any of the California
California.
teams
Yeah.
yet. So that's 3 of them.
Haven't
Yeah, we
played
played the
Vancouver.
Flames. We haven't played Vancouver.
Haven't played Edmonton.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
true. It's kind of crazy to be this far into a season only have 2 division games.
Yeah. Through 15 games.
Yeah, but hey, if you're it doesn't matter how many they are. If you've got a perfect win record against them, let's go.
Yeah. And if you're going to have a slump like they just did, best to not be playing against teams in your division.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Good night, Pablo. Byron, scratches and the threat thereof are more effective than I thought, especially when your replacement can score and make it hard to scratch him. That is key. Like it is a motivator. It is something that can wake somebody up, get them going, have them come out there because we've talked about this in the past. Obviously, every athlete wants to give it their all each and every night and all of the time. But in a physical and demanding sport like hockey, when you're playing 82 regular season games, not that anybody would openly admit this, but it is extremely hard to do that, if not just straight up unrealistic to do that. And there are times where maybe that looks like it's what's happening, and sending that message does get the guy to come out there and bring that extra little bit. And or in the case of like Oliver Bjorkstrand tonight getting his goal, RJ gets him to do something that he doesn't normally do, which is kind of crash the net. And it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, and that's why I love that goal too, because the net drive that's not an area he usually is. And it's the kind of goal, right? It's not a shot. Hill just jumps out and kind of pokes it, but the fact that you're driving to the net just pushes the puck in, and that's why good things happen when you go to the net. It doesn't always look clean or pretty, but that's the kind of message it can send. Also, this was really the first season that the Kraken hadn't had that constant competition at the bottom of the forward group, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would always had too many forwards. Even last season with Tatar, somebody that was a regular was scratched on a regular basis. This year, partially it was cap reasons, but it just wasn't the case. And so I think that's something that Francis ideally would like to have.
Yes. Some people pointing out, first Lindsay here, you have to put Sprong with someone who's defensively responsible. Christian, I don't know about that defense with Stevenson and Sprong. They play together. That's maybe another reason maybe not to go with the Stevenson route there.
Those three in their own zone are scary.
It would
Those three
be
combined, they better spend the whole time in the offensive zone.
it would be rough. Jeff, though, asking any thoughts on Steska? To be honest, I'm not sure I know anything about him. Obviously, backing up Joey tonight. Do you want to kick us off there? Or I can.
Sure. Yeah, no, Steska, I mean, he is the Firebird starting goalie this year, or he's in a tandem, at least with Nika Koko. He is Czech, and he has a great personality, too. He's a funny guy. If you want to learn more about Steska or just see something that is absolutely worth a few minutes of your time, I don't know how to, go find it in a search, but the Firebirds put out this video last year of Steska mic'd up during a practice, and it is hilarious. If you can go find it, go give it a watch. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I can tell you, everybody in Coachella Valley loves Stezzy. Like he is just so beloved. He's a great human being. Wonderful family. Took in Chalet this season. As Chalet went down there to the Firebirds, he's with his family. Just really great person. Everybody in the organization, from the people really working for the Firebirds, just to like arena staff, I've heard and that I've talked to, just talk about what a great guy he is off the ice. And so he's a great guy, and glad for him to kind of get this opportunity to come up and spend a little bit of time with the Kraken.
Yeah, and when Stiska first joined the Kraken last year too, in training camp, Jen, our photographer, would post pictures of him. We'd post a picture, and it would just do crazy numbers. So many people liked him. Like, why? Who is this guy? We hadn't even really heard of him. And then we saw he just had this huge fan base from where he had played previously, and we quickly learned why that was.
Yeah, no, just great guy. Light, I will say, happy to get Sprong back, but Sprong back, but I don't know why he signed under Tocchet. Saw him getting scratched coming from a mile away. Did people forget what happened to Kuzmenko? Yeah, fit was questionable.
Yeah, he's Kuzmenko with speed.
Yeah, which honestly I could see it. Like it was going to be an all or nothing type of situation there, where given the way that that team can play in rush and off the transition, and especially with their controlled zone entries and the looks that they can give, I could see having a speedy guy who has finishing ability being something that they would be interested in there with Sprong. But yeah, if he wasn't going to really play exactly where he needed to, because it's a very structured system that they run where everybody has to be exactly in certain spots so that the players passing the puck know where each other are. For somebody like Sprong, who's a little bit more go with the flow, I could see that not always being the best fit.
Yep.
And then Julia, can you shout out the two super cool ECH ladies I hung out with in the monorail line? One was Jenna, blanking on the other one's name with the crying emoji. It was great to meet them both. Always excited to hear about the community hanging out outside of this stuff. Let's see. Schultz asking the question, with Mahura's play, is Borgen expendable?
Well, first of all, Mahura plays usually on the left side, Borgen on the right, so it does create that complication. And no, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. That, and you want to have NHL defensemen around, right? Like I'm a big fan of Cale Fleury. I think we still need to see that he could be an everyday player if there was going to be an injury on the blue line. That is something that was already known about Mahura. That's why I think Mahura was brought in, because if there was going to be an injury like we're seeing right now with Vince Dunn, he is somebody very capable of coming in, playing these minutes, playing night after night at the NHL level, and delivering the solid performances that he has here. So appreciate that. Byron pointing out it's on the video of Stezzy is on the Firebirds YouTube channel, so definitely go check that out. And then Daniel asking the question, if Lars used a distinct kicking motion, does that goal count?
Yes, it does. If it's off your own team skate, yeah, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yes.
It'll count.
Yes. Bryce, Sprong scored a goal and got benched in his first Canucks game. Sounds like Daniel.
That's a Sprong of a game.
That is that. And then Byron asking, RJ, how are you feeling about your revenge goal over under choices?
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, let's see. What did I have exactly? I'm trying to remember from the episode.
I don't remember your choices. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I actually do not remember the choices, so I'll have to go back and look at them to give you a good answer. I see you've got that top from Canada. Or no, that's not the Canadian
Mm-mm.
top. Never mind.
No, it is in my backpack somewhere because it's in the pouch I didn't unpack. But yeah, I will use that at some point. Schultz saying you guys need to ask the players at Skills Day about Sprong coming back. We'll see. There's definitely going to be time to ask them.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see who we get. If we get Berkey, I will ask. 100%, I will ask.
Yeah. Was it from the over under episode we did where it was former Kraken players and you said Sprong was like basically gonna push them over, right?
Yes, I
That's what
know I
this,
had predicted like one or two from Sprong. I'm like, he might get this by himself. So that's
yeah.
not gonna happen. But yeah, so that actually probably hurts my prediction, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Daniel's saying pretty sure you picked Wenberg to score against us. That was me. I
That was
remember
Dylan, yeah.
I remember the Wenberg stuff. I predicted a hat trick from Wenberg at some point, which it's aggressive there.
He's got two OT
Byron,
winners for the Sharks already. He could do it.
yeah, Byron pointing out you took the over with 3.5 revenge goals by ex Kraken. So
That's going to be really hard to get without Sprong. I was leaning on Sprong for that one.
I mean, yeah, it might be tough.
They've already faced Geeky once.
Yeah, so only one game left against him. Got what, 2 against Donato still,
and he's on fire.
He already got one done against Toronto. Although, is anybody left in Toronto?
Yarncroke, I think, is still there. I don't know where else he would be.
Yeah, I don't either. So yeah, there is
Blackwell.
some.
No, Blackwell's somewhere else.
Blackwell's in Dallas, I believe.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. So there's still 2 games, 1 game against Dallas because we've already played one against Dallas. So yeah,
okay.
or maybe another one, but yeah, no, there's not. Mason Appleton.
I'm relying on
played once.
Yeah, I'm relying on Carson Soucy more than I want to.
Yes, and Cole saying RJ's going to jinx us with some Sprong own goals.
Those do not count. We forget about if that ever happens. We forget about it. He's never going to be close enough to his own net to score an own goal.
Yeah, Byron pointing out Dumo, Ryan Dumoulin in division. RJ.
Yeah, they got 2 games in a row coming up this month against him.
Yep. Kylie and somebody else earlier pointing out that when he's kind of been on a little bit of a tear recently, scoring some big clutch goals, 2 overtime winners for him in this last little bit. He's definitely been playing well. Rebecca, the other one there, and then a lot of people came in with the Yarncroke is in Toronto, but he is very injured at the moment. So
yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, and Becca with me on Appleton. There'll still be another opportunity for Appleton down the line.
Yeah.
Like, I know he catches a lot of flack, but I do think Berkey has played very well so far. The season just seems like his sick plays are never able to connect with a fellow attacking player. That certainly was the case tonight, RJ. I talked briefly about it earlier, but there's quite a few solid zone entries from him that then there was just really kind of no one for him to work with.
Yeah, Berkey gets the zone entry, button hooks, looks around, nobody open, gets pushed to the boards, puck taken.
Mm-hmm.
Happens a lot.
Yeah. El Bell, if Sprong gets benched and then scores in his first game back, does that count as a revenge against Coach Dan goal?
I love expanding the definition here. I mean, if it helps me hit the over-under, sure.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to do it here. We're past the hour mark. This was a good one. Needed it. Want to thank everybody for the many super chats we got. That was very appreciated. Excited just to have the good vibes back, RJ, and the dance party and the rave lighting and all of it.
Yeah, just in time too, because I've really been looking forward to the skills showcase. Yeah, especially since we didn't have one last year. It would have been a bummer going in after 6 straight losses. It would have been a lot worse than what it'll end up being. Now it gets to be a celebration. It gets to be a really fun time and just one of my favorite events of the year. So can't wait to come here. What? Oh gosh, like 12 hours from now, about, and be right back here.
Yeah, maybe not quite. Well, I don't know how early you're getting here, actually. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to finally attend one of these. I'm really pumped for it. Excited with how well the Kraken have been playing here at Climate Pledge this year. I'm not going to say it's because of me, but I would let all of you say it. So
yeah. I'll say it.
No,
Chat can join me in saying it.
No, it's just exciting to see them play this way at home. and especially with so many home games coming up for the rest of this month. Excited to see them back on it and doing what they're doing. So really, really excited. Yes, Maddie, we will post updates tomorrow for the skills competition. Keep everybody informed with how it's going. And yeah, just a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what the next game brings for all of us. And we'll see you all next time.